Hello everybody, welcome aboard L Nippon flight 233 to Osaka from Noishitos on Sapporo, up in the northern island of Japan. So we've just come down from the snowy mountains, now back into the main cities. Currently we've programmed the ILS runway 32 left. That is the favourable runway at the moment, but it's entirely likely that I might just make a circling approach for runway 32 right. I see some golf courses, actually multiple golf courses. I'm really into their golf in Osaka. And on the right hand side is the actual city, and as you can see it's humongous. I'm using Google Maps for the ground data, and I've got the new Kado scenery, so that's the airport over there. And I've got a Google Maps photogrammetry just for the main city centre, and the Imperial Palace is the main landmarks. I think I've also got an exhibition centre that I've put in there. I just found it was a bit of a shame, and it didn't really make sense to not have those buildings, or this was like a hotel in the middle of a lake. It's very clearly the Imperial Palace, so a little bit of scenery just to spruce up Osaka, but as you can tell it's an absolutely humongous metropolis, let's say. It's huge. It's like 150 kilometers in every direction. So yeah, we're going to be making a right turn shortly, and then heading on to longish final for runway 32 left at the moment. I'm going to actually go direct to Mido and see if that'll that's going to need a bit of speed brake. So that direct 2 is going to cause a bit of a steep descent now, as we just kind of come around, try and make that at 3,500, so it's going to take a while. But it's going to adjust itself back up, so we'll be okay by the time we get there. Seatbelt sign's obviously going on. Oops. Arrival META, let's just recheck that. So 310 degrees, 2 knots, view 2000, temperature 5, dew point 1019, which is exactly what I've got here. I'm just going to get the charts up, and I'm going to get the ILS runway 32 left in there. Add that to the route, and then hopefully it'll pop up here. Yeah, there we go. Circle to land to missed approach climb is minimum of 4, and jet aircraft not authorised east of the runway, so always to the west. Minimum descent altitude is 660 feet in that case. Now we need 2.4 kilometre visibility. ILS is 281, so I'm going to put that as my minimums. Barometric minimums anyway. I'm going to reduce that speed brake out now. Seems like the approach phase is engaged, so I'm going to set flaps 1. I think that's an airbase over there, not entirely sure. Let's have a look. It's not long enough to land, so I'm going to check on Volanta. So that's Yao Airport. There's a very cool thing about Japan, I might have mentioned it in my last stream. They centre mark all of the runways, so every runway in Japan has its runway centre marked, so you know when you've crossed the halfway point of the runway essentially, which is a really good idea actually. It's really good for judging safety really. The auto brake is set to low just now. I'm going to arm the speed brake already done. Just going to let that speed come down below 200 knots. You can see there's very few clouds at 2,000 above ground level. Quite prevalent there. Nice and obvious. I'm going to try and make this nice and smooth. It's only a 2 knot wind calm, so I mean if we want to practice the 1-4 left, we'd be perfectly okay to do that. There's absolutely no issue with practicing circling approaches in wind calm conditions, as long as it's accommodated by air traffic control. Osaka traffic, Nippon 233 is inbound ILS, runway 32 left, maybe circling. So yeah, it's just nice that the city does make a difference, because you're going to see it all on short, long final. So it's nice to have, there we go, there's the actual palace, and it actually looks like a Japanese palace or castle, rather than just being a random block of flats like these. But then in the background we've got the actual photogrammetry there from Google Maps. It's a little bit intense as you come over the city, but that's also fine. I'm going to keep 180 knots now actually, I'm quite happy with that as a speed. Let's just go into here, ANA up, so what have we got? ADC delay 1 minute. Okay, let's go into there. Gonna use 1 minute delay, and it's ATZ, and it's always ATZ. It's air traffic control's fault. It was actually the ground control in this case, but that's fine. Okay, 7.5 miles. Gears coming down. Gonna set flaps 2 at the same time as the gear comes down, so that extra drag from lowering the gear should mean, well, there we go, a little bit of a pitch down moment there, just due to the torque around that. So Google Maps is giving us the ground data, and then we've got some Google buildings here. Using Google Maps in Japan, I think it lines up better with the underlying scenery. Or was it Tokamatsu Airport, which is just over there actually, on the other island to the south, east, west even. And I noticed that some of the markings on the ground weren't quite lining up with the photogrammetry. Okay, flaps 3. We've got 078 at 14 knots, so actually I'm going to take the circling. So I'm going to stop to center 1500. Just going to turn this into a vertical speed rather than localizer. Okay, it's 32, so I'm going to take 15 degrees off the heading, turn left now, heading 305 and hold 1500. And we're going to do the visual circling runway 314 right. Let's get fully configured. Osaka traffic on the pond 233 braking off. We're going to do visual circling runway 14 right. Ding, 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 ding. So the visual circling in terms of charts is not entirely obvious. There is no charts for it. I think there might be a chart in the AIP officially, but basically the procedure is we're going to follow along to more or less this motorway here. So this motorway junction, and then a right turn, follow the motorway, and then right turn onto final. So not this motorway here, it's the second one, so the larger one. So we're looking for some little lakes. So I can see those 1 and 2 over there. And we're going to come around following the motorway. Since I've got wind coming directly from the east, and the runway 14 is quite close to the east actually, it's only 50 degrees or so. Gonna continue. I'm actually going to try and look for this motorway junction actually, see if I can find that. There's the 2 lakes. Should be a nice big road somewhere underneath those 2 lakes, and then we're looking for the following road. There's the airport off to the right hand side. Just holding our altitude exactly at 1500 just for now. Basically just flying a jet circuit. It's 1,000 feet above the airport level, which is not very high. It's 30 feet MSL. Above mean sea level. Okay, descending now, seeing the lakes. Got power lines here. I'm looking for a major motorway. Runway still in sight, so that's fine. So this is the first major road there on the right hand side. And now somewhere over here there should be the motorway. There you go, I can see the motorway going up into the hills over here. and that follows around to the right, so you can see there's actually a raised bridge there, so we're going to follow that motorway. And start descending at about 700 feet per minute. Okay, motorways inside ahead. Runways in sight there. Okay, runway 14 right is identified, following the motorway now. Okay, we've got 4 white, so I need to descend a bit more. And also we can make quite a bit of that, so we've got wind is 141 at 6, so that's quite good. It's good for the approach anyway. So I'm going to leave that motorway now. I'm going to do a little bit more bank in the turn, that's going to help us come down. Okay, slightly overshot it, we're not going to rush it around, we don't want to stall on the final.
Above. Speed, speed, speed. Minimum.
Continue.
$100. 50, 40, 30, 20. Retard. 5.
Touchdown. Reverse full. 80 knots. Okay, perfect. We're going to vacate here. We're going to cross the second runway 14 left without even having to go on it. So we would normally stop here, but no air traffic control is required, so I'm just continue. So we're not actually going to cross the runway, we're just very slightly crossing the approach path. A little bit of a weird, wacky event on short final there, and also it's saying 140 at 5, but actually it was more 320 at 5. Where are we then? 250 feet per minute at 1.06 G, which is fairly normal for a circling approach with a little bit of bonkers wind on final. Now let's get a stand selected. I'm just going to get my navigograph back up so we can choose one. Take stand 6. Okay, marshal it. Let's request deboarding.
The boarding requested. Passengers deboarding starting.
See if they follow the right path when they leave. Could be interesting. Oh, I think they might be on the outside. I'm just seeing some shadows. Yeah, they're not following the path. Yeah, so there's no GSX profile for this yet, so it's just using the default whatever GSX produces, which is not too bad, but yeah, it's a really good scenery. I mean, freeware, just saying. Not short of having a controller in the tower. Fantastic for freeware for sure.